Hey guys, hope you're doing well today. How's it going? Hope you guys are doing well. Today I want to talk to you guys more about toxins in the environment. You're going to hear me talk so much more about this in the future because I think that this is a hidden epidemic. A lot of you guys have heard me talk about this, but I want to bring some more things to your attention today because I'm going to keep reminding you of these things and giving you ideas on what you need to be thinking about to protect yourself and your family and really change the world and change some of this stuff that I'm going to share with you, which I think is unbelievable. The more I learn about these chemicals in our environment, these industrial chemicals, these agricultural, these chemicals that are used in different types of industry, and how they can affect human physiology, and the fact that we know almost little to nothing about most of them and how they affect us, it just, you know what it makes me think? It makes me think it's criminal. That's what it makes me think. I'm like, how can this possibly be that we can utilize all these chemicals and toxins and see skyrocketing rates of all of these disease processes that people think are completely because, their doctors and other people tell them it's because of the way they eat, what they do, and that they need these different medications. All the while, there's a tremendous amount of evidence on the few chemicals and things that we see in our environment that are used environmentally. There's a ton of evidence just for the few that have been studied that show that they're contributing to all these major disease processes that plague us. Now, I'm not saying that chemicals contribute to all of our disease processes and all of our problems, but I'm telling you this is a hidden epidemic that we don't know yet, that we don't know enough about. And I think you need to take the initiative to protect yourself, protect your family, and to try to change this because it's unacceptable. So I'm going to share some stuff with you guys today. So I'm constantly researching and reading and studying and the effect of these chemicals and what is happening, what's being discovered with how this is impacting human health. And so one of the things that I searched was I looked at the CDC's website, right? Center for Disease Control. And so they have this report. And they're constantly collecting data and doing surveys. So they're consistent. They're constantly doing this and trying to investigate different types of risk factors for disease in our population. And one of the things they did in 2009 was they printed and put out this report on human exposure to environmental chemicals. Pretty interesting. I'm going to talk to you about some of the findings in here, especially as it relates to the thyroid too. But let's talk about like this first, then we'll get into this report. And then we're going to get into perchlorate and how it affects the thyroid. So, my question to you guys, do you believe that the world needs to be changed? Do you believe that there needs to be change? Because I absolutely 100% do. And when I see stuff like this, I know that money is coming before people. That's what I know. I know that money is coming before people. And so 5 trillion pounds, 5 trillion pounds. It's a number so big that most of us don't even have a concept of what that means. 5 trillion pounds of 70,000 chemicals every year are produced every single year in the United States. 5 trillion pounds. Almost hard to believe that it can be done yearly. Only 1,500 are studied for toxicity. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about your children? See, a lot of people, they don't, I'm not saying you don't, but a lot of people don't care for themselves as much as they care for some other people. For a lot of people, they would easily, like that, give themselves for their kids or their grandkids. So I ask you, how does that make you feel that this potentially toxic garbage is being dumped into our waterways, on our foods, on our clothes, in the building materials all around us, in medications, and only 1,500 have been studied for toxicity? And cancer, diabetes, heart disease, you name it, neurodegenerative conditions, Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, autoimmunity, exploding off the charts. Oh, we don't know what's going on. It must be diet and exercise. It's completely ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. The only thing that's changed is our environment and what we do to manipulate our food supply. This is a major issue. This is a major issue. And I know enough to know it's a problem, a big problem that's completely being neglected and not even being identified or thought about. You go to your doctor, you have type 2 diabetes. Many of the chemicals in the environment are known to be endocrine disrupting chemicals. They interfere with the way that the hormones work in the body. They can decrease production, they can decrease the sensitivity of the body to the hormones. So how many of you have diabetes, type 2 diabetes, or know someone that has type 2 diabetes, or have seen someone that you know, or know someone that's going through a very significant declining health with type 2 diabetes right now, where the most common things we see, right, are diabetic retinopathy. They lose their eyesight. Amputations, nephropathy, kidney disease. They have to be put on dialysis. But it's all what? You're told it's all diet and exercise. I'm not saying that you can eat complete, garbage food and it's just the chemicals. No, there's definitely more than one thing that drives this. But I'm telling you right now that a lot of things are being completely overlooked. Now, what do we think is one of the leading causes of neurodegenerative conditions? Brain degeneration. Blood sugar. Okay, if you don't know that, blood sugar. It drives inflammation. It's toxic to the neurons or the nerve cells in the brain. That's why Alzheimer's is being called type 3 diabetes in the scientific literature. Okay? So, chemicals can promote endocrine disrupting, they have endocrine disrupting properties. You can go to pubmed.gov, pubmed.gov, type in, they index a lot of the very good peer-reviewed medical literature. You can go there, just type in diabetes mellitus, type 2 diabetes. There's a lot of different search terms you can use. And endocrine disruptors. Okay? Tell me what you come back with. Okay? Tell me what you come back with. My point is, this is one little piece of the puzzle that we're looking at here. One piece of the epidemic, diabetes. One piece of the epidemic. Only a few of these 70,000 chemicals have been studied, okay, that we know disrupt our endocrine system, our hormonal system, our immune system, and that have major consequences throughout the body, that are carcinogenic. Guys, this is a huge problem. So let's talk a little bit about this report, okay? Main thing, this is a huge problem. Guys, you know that one of the things that I'm trying to help people do right now is you need to be focusing on getting this stuff out of your environment to the best of your ability. We're teaching and taking people through a detoxification program that I think is the best that I've ever utilized, ever seen, in groups of 30 people. Right now we have our initial class that's going to start soon. Because we are only taking classes of people into this program, okay? If you want to join the next webinar, if you want to be on the next webinar and possibly have an opportunity you'll definitely learn a whole lot more about this stuff. You can go to nomorettoxicbody.com. It'll be on July 13th. Okay, we're planning on doing one webinar per month, but we're not necessarily planning on having multiple, like enrolling in another class. I don't know yet what we're going to do. Just depends on how the class goes. There's a lot of different factors, but we're definitely going to have a webinar where we're going to be teaching. Okay, No More Toxic Body, and you can register. Let's talk about this. So again, this was, if you missed it in the beginning, guys, this is from the CDC, Centers for Disease Control. It's the National Report on Human Exposure to Environmental Chemicals, 2009. So you guys know I've been talking a lot about these environmental chemicals because there's no way possible why is it legal to allow chemicals to be used environmentally, to be used in our food and in industrial processes, and not be tested for human safety? I just don't get it. Like, how can that possibly be? How can that be? It's because money comes before people. So, here's what I want to share with you guys. Okay, so this is the report report I just showed you guys from the CDC. Okay, so there's some points in here that are I think really important. So they only looked at 75 chemicals. Now, how many chemicals are there? How many? 70,000. And how many did they look at? 75. Think there's a problem here? What there is there's a hidden epidemic, because how many of these are affecting humans, are affecting everything that's living? How many of these are affecting us that we have no clue what they do, that we have no clue of the amount in our body? How many? Well, the CDC checked for 75. You should feel great that someone's looking out for you. I'm pissed off, quite frankly. Sorry if you don't like that, but I'm quite frankly, because I got to see, I'm concerned about, of course, myself, but I see a lot of sick people and I see a lot of suffering. It's unacceptable. This is freaking unacceptable. And then I have kids. It pisses me off to think that they are going to be, that we're still doing this crap and that they are inheriting this. Unacceptable to me. So widespread exposure. So that of these 75 chemicals, what they found out was that there were several chemicals that every single person out of about 2,500 people that they surveyed and looked at blood and urine showed positive levels, showed they had detectable levels of these chemicals. Every single person. Okay, guess what they are? Okay, so now this is going to be a mouthful. I'll talk to you about what it means as far as how it impacts your physiology, but polybrominated diphenyl ethers. Okay, they're fire retardants. Okay, so basically they're used in manufacturing of certain products. They will accumulate in the environment and in human fat tissue. Human fat. See, your fat, some of these chemicals are fat soluble. They will absorb into your fat tissues. Okay, they're fat soluble. So how do you get them out? You have to liberate, you have to deplete, make the fat cells smaller, free them into the body, bind them, and eliminate them. That's how you have to do it. That's your best opportunity to do it. That's part of the stuff that we teach in our detoxification program, is that you have to use, the best way to do it is to get your body to the point where you can do dietary strategies that allow you to use tools like intermittent fasting, ketogenic diets, where you tap into burning fat for energy so you can shrink the fat cells and liberate and dump these chemicals that are stored in the fat cells into the body so that the binders in our detoxification process can work to help you eliminate them. They said that this was the particular form of the chemical name, they called it BDE-47, was found in the serum of nearly all of the participants of this study. Okay, so we know these create, if you've seen my other live streams where I talk about specific topics, you're going to see a lot of these where I go into a lot more detail on the physiological effects that we currently know. Which there's so much we don't know about this stuff, guys. There's so much. Guess what else was found? BPA. Now, I've talked a lot about bisphenol A. It's basically plastics. Let me give you guys a really quick and easy tip to help you avoid BPA and the dangers of plastic. So many people have, we first learned that BPA is in water bottles and plastics, right? So then everybody went BPA free, right? Everyone went BPA free. You got your kids the BPA free plastics. You got them the BPA free bottles. You got them the BPA free toys that go in their bag. But guess what? I hate to rain on the parade because I did it too. But those BPA products, they are just, listen to this thing, they're finding out that they're probably going to be just as bad or worse than the BPA. Let me tell you something really simple that you can just take to the bank. Plastic is plastic. Doesn't matter what it is, plastic's plastic. BPA free, whatever form it is, plastic is plastic. It leaches, it gets into your body, there are problems with it. Okay? Avoid plastic. Get it out of your environment. If it sounds radical, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It is what it is. You can either take this information and you can be what I call a 3%er. You can change your life and you can choose to do the best that you can for yourself and your family. And if you go down, you go down fighting. That's the way I see it. Or you can just say, you know what, I'm going to turn my head, and you're going to ignore the fact that these things are occurring. And you're going to keep watching disease pop up. And it might be the people that you know and that you love and that you care for. You're probably going to see that regardless of what we do. But we got to try. We got to make a difference here. But plastic is plastic. BPA, a component of epoxy resins and polycarbonates, it can have, and they say, may have potential reproductive toxicity. How many of you have had or know people that have problems getting pregnant? How many of you do? Could BPA be a contributing factor? This is one of how many? 70,000 chemicals. Of how many have been studied? 1,500. And I guarantee you these 1,500, it's not like it was the most exhaustive study that they could possibly do. It's like, no, there might be one research paper on it that showed something. Okay? So general population, BPA may occur through ingestion of foods that contain BPA-containing materials. Well, that's really informative, right? Plastics. Plastics. They found BPA, bisphenol A, in more than 90% of the urine samples representative in the U.S. population. I'm telling you guys, huge problems. I won't belabor this too much. Another exposure was perfluorinated chemicals. Okay, perfluorinated chemicals. It's a group of chemicals. Let's see, just summarize this. Basically, used to create heat-resistant, non-stick coatings in cookware. How many of us used those non-stick pans in the past? I mean, I don't now, and some of you may still use those coated non-stick, like the ones that used to be like, is it Teflon? But these non-stick pans, they use, it's a chemical surface where it's so convenient. All it's going to do is poisonous. I mean, it's crazy that we don't think things through. I'm telling you guys, less is often more. So many times we think that we have to rush in and change things. It's why when I talk to people and I know they tell me they're taking 30 supplements, I'm just thinking to myself, how does the human body even work with 30 supplements? It's not, I've never once seen the need to have so many chemicals and so many extra things added. I think in a lot of cases, most people do better with less. Get the crap out of your environment, out of your diet, and stop trying to do so much to make you better. More is not better. Very rarely. It's the appropriate application. And that can be tricky to figure out. You got to start with removing the sources of problems, and then you can start trying to be more specific with what you need. Always when there's a problem, we got to do something about it. How about doing less? Getting out of the body's way, which we don't even know a very small percentage of the complexity of the body. How do we think we know what to do to keep it healthy? We barely understand it. The more you learn, the more you realize. You marvel at the amazingness of the body, and you try to get out of its way. You try to give it the tools, get out of its way so it can function. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oh, there's a lot of stuff here. I won't really read you a report that you can probably download I know you can download it. I downloaded it on the CDC's website. I'll tell you the name of it again, but it's it was the 4th National Report on Human Exposure to Environmental Chemicals. It was published in 2009. There are other studies, and they have data that they've gathered that they're still analyzing. But they talk about ongoing progress in reducing blood levels in children. We talked about, if you join me on my webinar at No More Toxic Body, we're going to have the next one on the 13th of July. I talked to you about how lead is passed down 4 generations. It's stored in the bones of the mother. She gets pregnant. We know that there's bone turnover at a higher rate during pregnancy. When the bone turns over in the mother, she liberates and frees the lead. It goes into the baby in utero. Now the baby has it in the baby's bones. Next generation, that baby, little girl gets pregnant. She grows up to be a woman. She gets pregnant. she liberates the lead in her bones and passes it on generation after generation. 4 generations, we believe, to get it out. But are we still getting exposed? So anyway, there's some information here on that. Have you guys heard of acrylamide? Acrylamide, okay? Like acrylic, acrylamide. It's not good. It's a carcinogen. So acrylamide is formed. This is really important, guys. This is important for your diet. Important that you get this crap out. Acrylamide is formed when foods containing carbohydrates, okay, carbs, like white potatoes, are cooked at high temperatures, like French fries, for example, as a byproduct of, and also they're a byproduct of tobacco smoke, okay? So most people are exposed to it through diet and smoking. It can bind to proteins in the body. And it's not good at all. I'm not going to read all the technical aspects of it. It's extremely common. It's a carcinogen. Get it out of your diet. Most common place you're going to get exposed to acrylamide is going to be in carbohydrates that are cooked at high temperatures. So it's that crunchiness on the outside of the French fry that's making your mouth water, that crunchiness. That is where all the acrylamide's stored. Those kettle cooked potato chips you buy, those even potato chips that aren't like white potato, but they're heated at higher temperatures, you form acrylamide. It's that crust. You know, what they call in the cooking shows the flavor. It's loaded with a toxic chemical called acrylamide. You don't burn things. You don't heat proteins over a certain temperature, or you're going to cause them to become denatured, and you're going to build up toxic chemicals within the food. You might not like it, and I'm not saying you have to be perfect. I'm not, but I'm saying be aware that you shouldn't eat charred food. You shouldn't eat certain things, right? You can reduce your risk and exposure. You can reduce the risk and exposure to your kids and your grandkids, and you can make a difference, right? You can teach some other people that are completely oblivious to this stuff. You guys can help me by sharing this video too. Help us help other people. Let's change the world. Let's do this. My goal is one person, one family, one community at a time. Because I know if I can change your life and you become aware of this, you're going to have an impact on your family. That's going to change your community. That's going to change the world. That's how we're going to do it. We can do it one person at a time. So help me by sharing this stuff. Tons of information on mercury. We don't have time to go through all this. I've probably already been on here. There's a ton of information. I'll go through more of this on other videos. But the main thing that you guys need to be aware of is that this isn't at an epidemic level. It is a hidden source of toxins. You have got to take responsibility. You have got to take responsibility. Stop sticking your head in the sand. Demand change. You know what I'm tired of? I'm tired of, just like a lot of you who are trying to live healthy and eat healthy, you drive down the road and all there are these options for food, most of you that are toxic, and the food and the meat, if they come from confined feeding lots for animals that are toxic. We have got to change. We've got to change. We've got to we've got to become much more aware of this so we can change this fundamentally. I mean, at the root of the issues here, which is really big business. It's really big business. We got to change it. Okay, let's talk about perchlorate. Okay, I told you I want to talk about one chemical too that was with the thyroid. So one of the other things that was checked in this study was perchlorate. Now I've got a sheet here, which is from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Part of the National Bio-Monitoring Program. Fact sheet. You can go print it. Perchlorate. It's used in fireworks, road flares, explosives, rocket fuel. It also forms naturally in the environment in small amounts. It can enter surface and ground waters. It lasts a long time and is easily absorbed by plants. So they're watering your plants. These plants you're eating that have these chemicals in them, getting them into your body. So, you can get exposed to it. This affects thyroid. We're going to talk about it in a second. By drinking water, milk, eating certain plants with high water content like lettuce, for example. Workers who manufacture perchlorate-containing products. So, like I said, road flares, firework explosives, rocket fuel. So, Listen how interesting this is to me. This is how most of these chemicals are. Human health effects from perchlorate at low environmental exposures are unknown, like most everything. Like if you go to any of the major sites that talk about the cause of thyroid disease and hypothyroidism is largely unknown. All these cases, these epidemic levels of hypothyroidism are largely unknown. Okay, I'm just telling you guys, there's a huge impact with environmental chemicals. So, large amounts of perchlorate have been used medically to treat overactive thyroid. So people that have hyperthyroidism, they can use it because they know it suppresses the thyroid. Okay? But we're getting exposed to this stuff and we don't want to be exposed to it. We're healthy. Animal studies have shown that perchlorate can decrease the production of thyroid hormone needed for normal development and bodily function. So you're getting exposed to all of this stuff. And then again, this is like perchlorate, so you know it's one of these 1,500. What about the rest? It just infuriates me that there's not a greater public outcry of the potential dangers here. So guys, you can learn a lot more about all this stuff. I'm going to be teaching you more, but there's, quite frankly, I could teach you every day, hours a day. I could research teach, and continuously teach you about these problems. The main thing that I think you need to take home is that we are being inundated with environmental chemicals. It's a hidden epidemic. No one is acknowledging it. Very, very few people. Very few people. And many of us are suffering with diseases that we know that even of the 1,500 chemicals that have been studied for toxicity, that they lead to have negative effects on thyroid hormone physiology, that they promote autoimmunity, that they promote diabetes, that they promote heart disease, that they promote cancers, that they promote neurodegenerative conditions. So what's the take-home message? Get everything out of your environment that you possibly can that's toxic. Okay? Number one, remove the sources. Number two, actively focus on detoxifying your body and removing these things from your body. Because when you're exposed, they break down. Do you guys understand how long we've been getting exposed to this? We've been getting exposed to these things for about 60 years. This is 5 trillion pounds of chemicals since post-World War II. So, you know, these are stressors that so people say, well, why didn't people have these problems before? Because these chemicals never existed before. Because our grandparents didn't have a lot of these burdens. Our great-grandparents never had these burdens. They had other stressors, but definitely not these. So this is something that's really important for you guys. I think that, like I said, this is a hidden epidemic. So actively detoxifying is a huge asset and thing that you need to be doing. I'm teaching, and we're taking small classes of about 30 people through our detoxification program. I'm going to keep teaching you guys, but there's a lot of right and wrong ways to do detoxification. Number one, remove the sources. That's the best thing you can do right now for yourself. Most of the detoxification programs that are out there are what we call downstream detoxification. So they just focus on supporting the organs of elimination, the liver, the colon, the kidneys, the lymphatics. They do not focus on properly binding or removing or displacing the chemicals or the metals from the tissues. Okay? There's a better way to do it. There's a better way to do it, to do detoxification, which is what we teach and which is what we do with people. If you go to nomorettoxicbody.com, you can register for the webinar we'll have on the 13th. We may have another enrollment during that time for our detoxification program. We may not. It just depends. We're still working with people right now that we had that got testing a week or two ago. Okay, so we're going through and I'm helping people determine if they're a good fit for our program, and we're really trying to see if we can't take a core group of people and really help them change their lives. This is a huge problem, guys. It's a huge problem. I don't know how much more I can stress it except to keep teaching you and exposing potential sources and giving you some more and more ideas. So guys, if you want to learn more about how to detoxify, if you just want to get some good information, go to nomorettoxicbody.com and you can learn. July 13th, 9 p.m. we're going to have our next webinar. But you can register, and as we get closer, we'll notify you and make sure that you can attend it. If you are stuck, if you feel like you need one-on-one help and you need someone to help you figure this stuff out, I do work with about 2 to maybe 4 people, depending on how busy we are with our group and everything that we're doing, per month. If you think you might be a good candidate for that, or you might want my assistance, you may be a candidate. I may be able to work with you. I don't work with everyone. It's not personal. It's just the fact that if I'm going to work one-on-one with you, you have to get testing. Like I cannot go through a bunch of trial and error with people. I'm going to teach you a lot of stuff you can do on your own. That's self-guided, or maybe you can maybe there's someone else that you can work with that can help you through that process. But when I work with people, I want you to get to business, to getting better. I don't have a ton of time to go through and go through a lot of trial and error. So we want to eliminate and reduce trial and error as much as possible. And we do that by trying to gather information to be as specific as possible in formulation of a plan to try and help you. You can go to drbradshuk.com and you can click on Application for Care tab. Okay, you can read all about potentially working with us. We can help you get testing. We work with people around the world. Okay, so guys, I hope this helps you. This is really something that's weighing on me quite a bit, because I don't want this for my kids. And I see a lot of people that suffer. And I see people that suffer that I couldn't figure out what was going on with them. And they're continuously sick. And I'm like, what is happening? Nothing. We've done everything that should be working, but they're not better. Why is that? This is the X factor. It's the unknown. Because guess how many of these chemicals you can check for? Not even close to the 1,500. Because a lot of these chemicals can only be detected in research settings where they're actually looking for the chemical. We don't have commercially available ways to do this. Just know they're there, guys. Just know they are there. Okay, let's stop preaching. I got a lot of stuff to do today. Got to catch up. Today's Friday. We had one of our computers crash. It's been like the past 2 days have been not cool. Had a lot of extra work, so we're trying to get some of that stuff I'm dealing with, and but I got a lot of excuse me. I got a lot of stuff to do, and try to get done at a reasonable time today. But guys, I hope this helps you out. As always, I appreciate y'all so much. I hope this helps you and helps you to make a positive impact on your life. Remember, my goal is to educate you guys so you can be your own advocate, so that you can be an active participant in your healthcare. You can be a better partner with anyone that you work with. You can help to change your life. You can help to change your family's life and your community. Ultimately, we change the world that way. That's my goal. I'm going to keep teaching. You guys keep learning, keep asking questions. I'm going to do the best I can for you. Okay? Appreciate you. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you guys again soon. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe not. Talk to you guys later. Hey guys, Dr. Shook, thank you for viewing our videos. I hope they help you out. If you want to, just subscribe to our channel somewhere here. You can watch a video that YouTube's actually selected for you, so hopefully it'll help you out. If you need any other information or resources, just look in the description. We've got links to our website, to our 9 lab test guidebook, and everything else that we do. I really appreciate you, and I hope you guys have a great